Okay, so I am here starting off our live coverage of the summit in Tempe, Arizona. And we're starting off with a repeat guest actually to goRIA, Shelby Nicholl.
Hi there.
Hey, Shelby, thanks for joining me on this.
Happy to do it.
Really excited to kick things off with you here today. So Shelby and I, we've known each other for a good couple of years.
Yeah.
We've done some work together in person for some investment news conferences. We've done a podcast. So I'm really excited to do an on location with you here at the summit.
Always best in person.
Without question. So for those of you in the audience, Shelby has a consulting firm that helps advisors transition in large part to the independent space, I would say. So we were talking off camera about what we're going to talk about, and I think we're going to talk about the big news of that large escape from Merrill Lynch.
It's never been bigger than this, right?
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it sets a whole new movement towards the RIA space. Historically, we would have said, oh, it's too complicated, oh, it's too large, it's too difficult, I'm too big to go RIA. That would have been something that you would have potentially heard. And obviously this team puts that to rest. What I also think is super interesting about it, if you read into the detail of the media, is this team had been considering this move for probably a decade.
Yeah.
And finally made it. And they didn't get any smaller between when they started considering it and when they actually made the move. So really interesting, took them a long time to get there, but it certainly is a fascinating move out of Merril.
It really is, and what I would also note too is we'll be having a podcast with Cheryl Penny, right, Dynasty, where they went to in about a week or two, so that's going to be kind of a cool thing to listen to. A couple of things to unpack here. As I was reading some of the details, and I love this particular detail, one of the reasons they cited was the technology at Merril was not up to snuff. Did you catch that in some of the presses?
Well, I'm not surprised to see that, right? Generally what we do see in captive firms is that the technology wanes versus the independent side of the world. And that can be independent broker-dealer also, it can also be independent RIA space. But anywhere that you have multiple choices for technology, generally we're going to see better technology options.
It just stands to
reason,
reason,
doesn't it? It just stands to reason.
So I recall when I got into this business, well, initially 30 years ago as a stockbroker, cold call cowboy in New York City.
That's right.
Then 4 years after that, I went to the independent broker-dealer space, Raymond James, a firm that I love, and then RIA. But here's the reason why I bring this up. When I went even the independent route, the IBD route, 25 years ago now, I was worried that people would not know who I was, my firm was. Raymond James is very well known in the industry, but 25 years ago in the Northeast, they were not known as Merrill Lynch was known.
Sure.
Fast forward 25 years, I think roles have reversed. I think now I feel much more confident with a prospective advisor, Freudian slip, a prospective client, that I am independent with a small shop. I am not with a big bank. Does that resonate?
It's a really interesting thing because there's always going to be clients on both sides of that fence, honestly. But I think where the independent RIA space is going is they're also associated with very big brands, whether it's going to be a Raymond James or it's Schwab or it's Fidelity, et cetera. Even Altruist is getting
absolutely
well known in the space today as the fastest growing custodian. So you've got these other brands that as an independent you can also point to and give some more of that social proof. But ultimately, people are doing business with people. They're choosing you as the advisor because you have created that trust with them. You've delivered value to them already. And so when you decide to go independent, if that's the route you're going, you're telling that story. You're telling the story about what you can do differently in the future that you couldn't do, the lack of conflicts that you're going to have versus other models if that's the way you go.
Without question. So let's pivot a little bit to what you do every day. So you really help guide advisors. See, here's what's interesting. I consider advisors clients of Sovereign and clients of Sovereign, so I kind of use those words interchangeably. But what do you tell advisors that are looking to make that leap, that you could share with our audience that are clearly thinking about going RIA?
Yeah, so first of all, we're always going to start with what is the vision for your practice, right? We always have to start there. We're not going to start with where did your buddy down the street go? I hear that way too often, and it's not always the right move for you, right? So when I think about advisors, I tell them we do three things at Muriel Consulting. We help them move firms, build RIAs from scratch if that's the right move, and hire staff. That's all we do. That we are experts in those three things. When it comes to moving firms or going RIA, building your own RIA from scratch, if that's the right path, that RIA move can be a platform, it can be a dynasty, it can be a sanctuary, or it can be a build your own. Right. We've got a lot of options in there. But the point of going RIA is because you want to create something different than what your clients have had in the past. If you've been at Merril or you've been at Wells or some of the others. It's to create differentiation and to set you up for where the future of the industry is heading. And so we see a lot of advisors and practices very interested in going RIA today because we really view it as the future of the industry.
Without question, sort of where the puck is going, as they say.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, there are still a couple of good broker-dealer options out there, but there is a lot of sameness there too. And so we have to sort through the sameness. We've got to really figure out the right fit for the advisor, and that's where our team comes in.
Right, and there's so many different ways to go RIA. To your point,
That's
you
right.
could build your own, you could tuck in, and you could do sort of that hybrid, which is kind of like a dynasty model where they're doing some, you're doing some. So there's a lot of ways to do this.
That's right.
So with the couple minutes that we have left, what are some parting thoughts that you might have? People always like to hear things I should do. People love to hear things I should not do. What do you think?
Yeah, so a couple things that you should do. First of all, I know I'm biased and it'll come across biased, but find an independent person to help guide you through the journey.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be me, but find an independent. When you are sorting through the sales pitches of all of the firms or the platforms or the custodians, you are hearing the best of them and you're hearing that sales pitch. Also, the economics may not be exactly apples to apples, and you need somebody who has gone through that journey before that can help you sort through those differentiation points. So that's number one thing, what to do. What not to do, don't shortcut the due diligence, right? I like proper due diligence, and I want proper planning when it comes to planning for the transition. We're going to take a little bit of time. We're going to plan your messaging. We're going to plan your operational flows. We're going to talk about your CRM. These are all things that you really do not want to skip over because they're how you launch a successful and thriving practice.
Okay, well that's a great place to put a pin in it for today. So Shelby Nicholl from Muriel, thank you so much for joining us and kicking off our coverage.
Thanks for having me.
You bet. All right, so that's it for this segment, but we have 3 more segments today as I cover the Summit 2025 here in Tempe, Arizona. I'll be back in about 40 minutes with some more content and our next guest. Thanks for joining us, and Shelby, thanks again.
Thank you.